Hi, everybody. Let's see if I'm on, see if everything's working. Sometimes it's just needs a minute. This is day 1,761 days since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room and his life was taken from him. It is May 28th, 2025. We're a little bit, we're going to be burning the midnight oil again. Trying to get a little bit earlier, but the information is coming in so quickly. And I just want to say thank you to those that give us heads up about the um, what the suspects are doing, the ones that are worried. We're over the X. I can tell you. Yeah, let's see if I'm on. Let's see if I'm on, and you can hear me. Okay. There it is. Okay. So, on this day, 1,761 days, that's a long time every day to be doing this and investigating but we have uncovered things that we never ever dreamed of. And so those that are the suspects, the prime suspects in the murder and cover up, really targeting um, Richard, the murder of Richard, the covering up of Richard's case, they're very, very active lately. Well, they've been active because we have breaking news every day, breaking news, breaking news. And, so their playbook, which is very evil, is to obstruct, interfere, create false, unreliable sources and witnesses, to uh, intimidate, threaten, harass, um, forgery, impersonation. I mean, all their playbook is crime, 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 crime. Lies, 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 and anything to do with lies. And so, if you want the truth, you come here. We say in the Walmart mass shooting, there were multiple shooters because evidence confirms that there were multiple shooters. Evidence confirms it, not just, going along with a fake news media that doesn't even give us the truth about the Mayella Crucius family, right? The Mayella Crucius family. That's just jaw dropping when you think of the Mayellas, Michael Mayella Jr., Alexis Mayella, Emily Mayella, Lorraine Mayella, and their connections with the Crucius family, Alexis marrying Brian Blake Crucius, having that El Paso connection when the fake news media who had this information sat on it, okay, sat on it, and did a pay for play or a quid pro quo for access for I guess the Mayellas give you some status, right, because of their criminal activity. And Michael G. Mayella being in the DA's office with Jaime Esparza, with James 2028 stamp Montoya. If you want to know why this case, which was the Walmart mass shooting, probably the most violent case that El Pasoans have had, and they didn't even go for the death penalty. And even though I say that there were multiple shooters, Patrick Crucius admitted to killing one or two. He couldn't fathom killing more than one or two. He didn't think he killed one more than one or two. Well, if he killed one, then he should absolutely be tried with the death penalty, right? because you saw that in the video, we saw um, an execution of Alexander Gerhard Hofmann, the German national. That's who you saw at the Walmart. You saw the German national there on the floor. Cartel styled. And so there's a lot of questions in the Walmart. I was sent that they're going to have some kind of live chat about the Walmart mass shooting. That'll be very, very interesting. No, maybe someone has called me. I don't know, but we did get information about it. I don't know if we'll join. We'll see. We'll see. Because we know that Walmart mass shooting case. We know that Walmart mass shooting case. We know Patrick Crucius's case. We know it, and we could absolutely contribute to that. So we'll see. We'll see if that works out. But and why do I even hesitate? Because we are getting so much information about Richard's case right now, and the absolute mutiny and treasonous confirmations of the activities of the chain of command of the 15 plus agencies that were at that task force, right? The 15 plus agencies. It's brutal. The evidence confirms that they engaged in a mutiny against President Trump. And I haven't said that for years and years. This is something that evidence, piecing together all of the puzzle pieces, this is what it absolutely confirms. That in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, the Trump administration was investigating, auditing the criminal trafficking activities, be it money laundering, be it shell businesses, these LLCs doing money laundering, these horrendous, fraudulent contracts with the military, contracts with the ISDs. Just with Walmart, he was investigating. He wanted to close down that border and vet people coming back and forth because it was bringing in so much crime into El Paso. That is on record over and over again. He campaigned on it. Not that he wants to close the border, but that the border, the open border is bringing in a lot of crime. And so, it's like you have to vet it, especially when Mexico is now tied up in strings to the CCP, to the Chinese Communist Party. When, everyone knows, just a little bit of research, everyone knows that Mexico, it's like in a spider trap, okay? And these strings have caught Mexico, and those strings are the CCP, okay? And that's why you have the cartel growing and coming over with the visa. You see this in the news now. A lot of fraudulent H1 and to H1, H2 or whatever, fraudulent visas coming over. And that is why Marco Rubio is, and someone can correct me, my memory on the types of visas, but it is all in the news right now. And that's why Marco Rubio and the Marco Rubio list, we haven't forgotten about it. It's huge news. Um, is identifying kind of like the poisoned ponds, right? Kind of like the poisoned ponds that I just posted up. And if you haven't had a chance to read the Operation Poison Ponds, that would really be helpful in understanding it. It has really helped us understand that this kind of fraud, this kind of criminal um, network has been going on for a while with Luther Jones, with even is it Dolores um, Bronis of I think the judge's sister, um, and they were all caught in fraud and everything with this Operation Poison Ponds, and the lead investigator on that was FBI agent Julio Cesar Cordero. Um, it's just amazing because that tells you that this stellar FBI agent was uh, excellent in investigating and did his job and was going after the criminals. Was going after the criminals and had a long history of going after the criminals, and was given many awards, very prestigious awards for his work, for his crime busting, which is what FBI agents are supposed to do, right? And he lost his life this year, a few months back, at the El Paso ISD police hands. And, that still is being investigated. But it makes you wonder because of his reputation, because of his past, and even though he was retired, and there are narratives out there, but I know all about false narratives, so I don't really listen to them. I look at what his awards were, what he was involved in, and he was pretty prestigious. He was pretty stellar. So I can't really, um, it's kind of like stellar Richard Halliday. We have stellar Julio Cordero. And, so it tells you, or at least I ask, and our family ask, what was he about to expose? What was going on at the El Paso ISD? And it really did, because we've had some very, very bad criminal actors that have been harassing us and threatening us and saying the most vile, vulgar things over and over to us through text messages and stuff for months at a time. And we found out this one person who is just, well, she's self-proclaimed has all kinds of mental problems, that she has mental health problems. Um, so we found out she works at El Paso ISD. And so when all of this happened with Julio Cordero, um, we started looking in to the El Paso ISD. Because here he is, a stellar FBI agent. Even though he's retired, you really don't take that out of somebody, right? When you have that investigative mind, you don't take that out of somebody. You don't take that out of an FBI agent, even though he's retired. So, I just ask, what was he about to expose? What was he looking into? What was he investigating? Because I think that he was. I think he absolutely was investigating. And when I know of such a nasty individual, really a demon, I think a demon possessed individual, getting a job at the El Paso ISD, then I think that Julio Cordero, that corroborates that he must have been investigating something there. And they have a police department, And that police department has a chief. The chief of police, his name is Manuel Chavira. Manuel Chavira was a response team for the Walmart mass shooting. And he got this job as uh, uh, chief of police for the El Paso ISD Independent School District without having a police license, right? A police officer's license. He got it unqualified. Does that remind you of someone? It reminds me of Luis Rene Diaz. He's totally unqualified, right? Um, to be in the position of managing the 34th Judicial District Attorney's Office, right? Being chief of staff to usurper Bill Hicks. It just reminds, when someone is unqualified, that something is very, very wrong, that there is an infiltration going on, that there is, people are up to no good. People are up to no good. Well, we found that out because there was a lot of people that were very unhappy, especially qualified police licensed individuals that could have got that job and done a much better job and were passed over, right? Were passed over. So the best qualified person didn't get the job. That's the bottom line of this. And it wasn't even fair. It wasn't even fair. There was something corrupt about it. And that's not me saying it. I'm saying what was going on in El Paso. That was like a pay for play or something with the Walmart. We know that the Walmart is a cover up, is a botched case, is a lot of crime that has not been exposed yet, and even multiple shooters that have not been exposed yet. So so we looked into who this person is. Do you know that Manuel Chavira is family to Nidal Baem? Family to Nidal Baem. Do you remember who Nidal Baem is? He's the FBI man that walked into the Dollar General, right? The Dollar General, and declared the search for Richard over, that they can take down the flyers, that they had found FBI, that he was FBI. He um, told her, which is a federal crime, that he was FBI, and that, she asked, if they found him, is he okay? And he said, no, he's dead. And they found his remains in Juarez, Mexico. And now, and then put his finger up to his mouth to make the gesture to keep quiet, to be silent. Shush. This is a secret. Why is it a secret if you found the missing soldier, right? Even if he's dead, that really shouldn't be a secret. And so we gave this CCTV footage, the video for, and this cashier, she's top of the list, y'all. She's just amazing, top of the list. And I know it's taking time, but we haven't forgotten her. And so we're just working so hard every day to get this accountability. But we have not forgotten her. So she was very brave, and she called us up, and we did get the CCTV footage of him. We did not know who he was. This was 2020, and so he was wearing a mask, and we turned it into the FBI. We investigated it because they told us he was just some guy, wasn't important. And we knew that they were lying to us because they had been lying about everything else. And at the same time targeting Richard. At the same time targeting the whistleblower. Of course they're going to target the whistleblower. That's their playbook. But this is the chain of command, is now the thugs, the criminal trafficking thugs group, right? That's what they are. They are, for their own personal gain, they have joined the criminal trafficking thugs, and they lied to us about who Nidal Baem was, that he was just some guy. And it took months, but God's grace, at the right time, we found out who he was. And I called him up. I talked to him on the phone, and he admitted that that was him, that was him. Okay? So that everything he said, that was him. Um, that Richard was dead, that it was over, that they found Richard's remains in Mexico. Um, yeah, and I've been talking about this ever since, over and over again. And here he is, family, close family, very close family to the chief of police of the ISD, Manuel Chavira. But it doesn't stop there. He is a Palestinian arms dealer through Western Frontier Trading and other things and other things. He's really into cars. He's really into car dealerships, right? So, and that goes to Richard's car, because we knew that they were lying to us about Richard's car. But 2020 and 2021 were absolutely insane. They were absolutely insane years. And going into, because that was an election, right? And this is all about the election. It's all about um, election obstruction or election tampering. That's why they had to target President Trump, whether you like him or not. The fact that they did it is what's so wrong. The fact that they did it is what's so criminal. They interfered with the election by giving a false narrative, by even orchestrating a Walmart mass shooting that killed so many. That was like one of the most violent things, right? And now they don't, then they don't even have a trial. Then they just plea deal it out for, using a autistic, severely autistic and individual with special needs, that they had groomed, and his father is mind control expert or whatever, trained, mind control trained. And the their Mayellas are in the federal courthouse and in the DA's office and the FBI and Walmart cybersecurity and in mental health also. um are they in the car business? Are they in the car business too? The brokerage business? Are they related to Chavira? Well, we know that Nidal Baem is related, family related, to Manuel Chavira, and we know that that he is chief of police for the El Paso ISD. When everything was happening to us, as far as being targeted and threatened, even our lives were threatened. Um, and I mean months of just the most vile, vulgar harassment. Yes, he didn't recant his statement. The second time around he recanted. But look, you got him on video. You're talking about Nidal Baem. These are, what did I say? These are criminal. He has a long criminal history. Okay? A long criminal history for fraud, tax evasion, terroristic threats. He he's up to no good. He's a no good character. He has a playbook, and that playbook is to lie, 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 right? When he's in trouble. And he just couldn't stand it when he saw Richard's flyer. And when you look at that video, I've looked at it probably 1,000 times, and I'm not joking. We're at 1,000 761 days. So we've been doing this every day, and I probably have it on record that I've looked at it about 1,000 times. I have looked at that video, that CCTV video. It's probably the most honest thing that he's done. He was so emboldened. He's so sure of himself, right? He's just like, I got it all under control. Because listen, not only is he the father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bradford Bugado in the G3 with major, major connections with that, okay? Major connections. Because you're talking about some dirty generals. You're talking about some, very profitable contracts. So very, very big dudes that get a lot of money for these contracts, okay? And we know this because my husband had over 30 years in the military. We have over 80 years of combined service. We know all about contracts, the military contracts. We're a trillion dollar funded military. That's it, really, look at our military, right? Uh, uh, it is the biggest. It's the biggest. It has big, big contracts. It makes a lot of people rich. That's why they like wars. That's like that's why North Carolina didn't get the help, but Ukraine did. And over 50% of the weapons that went to Ukraine went to the Mexican cartel. That's not me. That's on record. That's on record. So Nidal Baem, he's a Palestinian arms dealer connected to G3 Lieutenant Colonel Bradford Bugado in the 32nd ADCOM with all these connections. And 32nd ADCOM G3, that's Richard's command, right? So they have access to all of his information, access to this case, access to all his whistleblowing reports, his files, everything, access and power over anyone below in the chain of command, right? And they're up to no good. And so if he comes back after his brother, I mean, not his brother, well, maybe they called too. Maybe they called too. But after his son-in-law said, "What the hell did you do? What the hell did you do?" Right? Can you imagine? Can you imagine what he went through after he, like, all prideful, went into that Dollar General and misrepresented himself as an FBI agent with power and said, "Take down the flyers." Like, who is he? "Well, I'm an FBI agent. Take down the flyers." Right? Um, you don't have an audio of what he stated. It's hearsay. It's hearsay. ASEN. No, we have the video. We were there less than an hour after. You know, I think, Alex, you're playing a game. You must be his brother or something. You must be in that little group because I'm telling you, we have the video of the cashier and we interviewed the other people in the store. Okay? There's no hearsay here. He went into that store. We were there less than an hour after he had done it. And he had said Richard was dead. His remains were found in Mexico. In Mexico. Then, listen to this. Then we called the State Department and talked to our connection there in Juarez, Mexico, in the State Department. And he confirmed that the FBI was in Juarez looking for Richard's remains in 5 locations, and he proceeded to tell me where those locations were. Now, that corroborates what Nidal Baem was telling the cashier. That confused the cashier because she didn't know that Richard had been dismembered. That didn't even enter her mind because she's such a hero, such a good person. But this is, so not only that, but we have um, the liaison to the to the State Department, that's DHS, that corroborated our story. We also have DES Thomas Kane that corroborated this story, and we have others. So this is not just a one person. Nidal Baem. Nidal Baem was caught on video. I've watched that video raw, over and over and over again, with the net with the witnesses describing what was going on in the video. I'm sure that Nidal Baem got a call after we handed that in right away to the FBI saying, "What the effing did you do?" Because they were in cover up mode, they were in mutiny mode, they were in treasonous mode. Bradford Bugado was in treasonous mode, mutiny mode. Why? Why? Because they were protecting their contracts. They were protecting their pocketbooks from the criminal trafficking, from the cars, from the whatever. It's huge. The fuel, the weapons, the parts, the car parts, you know, and Nidal Baem was trying to sell $3 million worth of ammunition to the El Paso Police Department. He's an arms dealer. He has a record. I don't have a record. I am far, 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 I am totally reliable because I don't have a record. I am not a liar. Nidal Baem has a record of fraud. Fraud. Oh, absolutely, Alex. That's absolutely he's asking why not give her the reward money if she's such a good person. 100%. That's why I said she's on the top of the list. There's a list. There's a list of heroes, absolute heroes that have absolutely given us the information that has broken this cake, put cracks in it here, there, and it's just breaking. And yeah, so I don't even know who Susan Smith is. Um, I know that I'm the gold star mother of Richard Halliday, a hero, a whistleblower, and a witness to the investigations of President Trump. He was a witness to the criminal trafficking investigations that were being conducted. And that's why they targeted him. And I'm not done with Nidal Baem yet because there's more information. When we were being harassed, like this Alex Everett is, and you know what? Let me see. I'm blocking him. There. Go do it on their site, the witch's site or whatever. Not this site. We are focused. We are focused on getting accountability for El Pasoans, for Americans, for Richard, for Vanessa Guillen, for Asia Graham. We are focused on getting accountability. And I'm not done with Nidal Baem yet because evidence confirms that he is not only family with Bradford Bugado and Manuel Chavira, but he's also family to the Company E Texas Ranger Gustavo Sanchez, that was assigned to us, not to Richard's case. I mean, it is kind of Richard's case, but to us to uh, look into the people that were extremely severely harassing us, threatening us, trying to obstruct justice in this case. So Gustavo Sanchez, a Texas Ranger from E Company, was assigned to us and is a family member to Nidal Baem, to Manuel Chavira, to then Bradford Bugado, right? They're right there. They're all family members. He's closer. He's closer family to Nidal Baem, and it's like the three of them, right? And he's a Texas Ranger assigned to our case. Can you believe it? So it is absolutely um, clear that this was an orchestrated, institutional criminal trafficking network. And that's why Julio Cordero is so important in this, because he knew where it was at. He had that experience. He knew. And that's why I'm very suspicious of his death. Very. Because he knew. Once you read through Operation Poison Ponds, you will absolutely understand, because he was the lead investigator on that. This institutional criminal network, like Luther Jones, he put Luther Jones behind bars. Who else was he investigating? What other loose ends did he want to tie? What was he doing? So, so this whole thing with Nidal Baem is huge, because it tells you that the treason and the mutiny that we have been saying was going on, the 44 four-star generals, remember? And I got, and so, a lot of people were very angry that I was picking on the 44 four-star generals. Well, I'm telling you, General Kelly, General Mealy, General McConville, General Garrett, Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, Lieutenant General Donna Martin, Major General Clem Coward, very close to First Sergeant Ruggiero. Clem Coward and First Sergeant Ruggiero, ooh, woohoo, they're close together. They're close. Um, a lot of that's coming out. But the main point with Nidal Baem, that Nidal Baem absolutely corroborates and confirms, is that there was institutional corruption, institutional treason, and a mutiny. And that mutiny was against President Trump. That they were not listening to the commander in chief. He's commander in chief. He's chief law magistrate, right? He's the chief law enforcer, chief magistrate. He's the chief. The president of the United States is the chief. And whether you like him or not, during the whole Biden, and I did not like Biden, I did not like Biden. I think he was the worst president ever. But I never, even though I said I didn't like him, but I never went and plotted against him, schemed against him, tried to hurt him, wished him to be hurt. Never. I don't have a criminal record. I'm not a criminal. But General Kelly, General Mealy, General McConville, General Garrett, um, Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, uh, Lieutenant General Donna Martin, um, Secretary of the Army Christine Wormuth, General Austin, who was the uh, Secretary of Defense, um, and there's so many. I always miss all of them, but they absolutely engaged in this mutiny, which is treason, because they were protecting the Mexican cartel criminal trafficking network tied to the um, contracts, of course, tied to the contracts, but in this web that was totally captured by the CCP, they were serving foreign and domestic enemies, the Chinese Communist Party, and they were doing it for personal gain. And that's why you see that they weren't doing SOPs, following SOPs on Fort Bliss, that they were breaching security on Fort Bliss, that they were bringing in every kind of vice to compromise our young sons and daughters that had wanted to serve their country, and they were being entrapped with all the worst types of vices. I guess that's the right word for it, vices, because they weren't being taught the virtues, to be patriotic, have esprit de corps, um, to have the Medal of Honor ethos. No, all the vices were being brought in an unsecured Fort Bliss military base, that they were engaging in criminal trafficking. And that was absolutely grand theft larceny of our stuff, our stuff. And they were doing it in our uniforms at the taxpayers' expense. And it was absolutely mutiny, because they were not obeying the President of the United States, the Commander in Chief. And they were obstructing, and this is evidence confirms that they were obstructing and interfering in the investigation, the murder investigation of Richard. So, yeah. And we're almost there. We're almost there. I mean, um, absolutely. And if you have information that can tie this together, um, even more, because we have enough, but we need all of it, because uh, we're dealing with rogue courts, a rogue judicial system. It's a mess. And so you've got to do it rogue investigators. So we've been doing it, and more people are helping, and so the door is still open for all of that. So please, you can call 941-677-0060. Plenty of people are giving us information, and we're very grateful for it. Very grateful. And it's gonna, we'll see. We'll see if we can get accountability and get Richard's remains. We still have Find Richard Halliday, because where are his remains? What did they do with him? That's our objective, getting his remains and holding these people accountable. And it's, can you imagine? We're talking about treason and mutiny. That's the level of these crimes. And I didn't make that up. I never sought to have that. But that's what the evidence confirms. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Thank you, Anicia, for your love and your prayers. Justice for Richard Halliday. Thank you so much.